So today we are going to start with the bones of the lower limb. First bone we are going to discuss is the hip bone. The hip bone constitutes the pelvic girdle along with the sacrum, coccyx and right and left bone forms the bony pelvis. Each hip bone consists of three parts: the ilium, the ischium and the pubis. These three bones are meeting at a hollow cavity. This cavity is known as the acetabulum. Acetabulum lies on the lateral aspect of the bone. Acetabulum is taking part in forming the joint, hip joint, along with the head of femur. The side determination of the hip bone, the acetabulum should be directed laterally. The flat expanded ilium forms the upper part of the bone. This is the upper part of the bone. This is ilium. That lies above the acetabulum. It should not lie like this. It should be above. Ilium should be above the acetabulum. And the obturator foramen. This foramen is the obturator foramen, lies below the acetabulum. This is bounded anteriorly by the pubis and posteriorly by a thick, strong ischium. Now we are discussing the anatomical position of the hip bone. In the anatomical position, the pubic symphysis and the ASI, that is anterior superior iliac spine, it should lie in the same coronal plane. It should lie in the same coronal plane. Next, the pelvic surface. This is pubis. This is the pelvic surface. The pelvic surface of the pubis is directed backwards and upwards. The symphysial surface of the body of the pubis should lie in the median plane. So, we have discussed the 3 points. First point is the ASIS and the pubic symphysis should lie in the same coronal plane. The pelvic surface of the body of the pubis should be directed upwards and backwards. The symphysial surface of the body of the pubis should lie in the median plane. Now coming to the ilium. Ilium is the upper expanded plate-like part of the hip bone. The lower part of the ilium forms the 2/5 of the acetabulum. The ilium has following parts. First is the upper end of the ilium forms the iliac crest. The lower end, which is smaller, it forms the lower end, which is smaller, it meets the pubis and the ischium at the acetabulum. It has three borders. Ilium has three borders: the anterior border, the posterior border and the medial border. And three surfaces: the gluteal surface, the iliac surface or iliac fossa, and this is the sacropelvic surface. Now coming to the iliac crest. This is iliac crest. Iliac crest is a convex ridge forming the upper end of the ilium. The highest point of the iliac crest is situated a little behind the midpoint of the iliac crest. Now coming to the ends, the anterior end of this iliac crest is known as anterior superior iliac spine. This is a prominent landmark that is easily felt in the living. And the posterior end of this iliac spine is known as posterior superior iliac spine. Now another projection we can see, this was anterior superior iliac spine. Just beneath there is another anterior inferior iliac spine, and similarly posteriorly we see that this was posterior superior iliac spine and this is posterior inferior iliac spine. Medial border extends on the inner surface or the pelvic surface of the ischium. It extends from the iliac crest towards the iliopubic eminence. It separates iliac fossa from the sacropelvic surface. Next is the anterior border. The anterior border extends from this anterior superior iliac spine, runs downwards towards the acetabulum. Next we come to the posterior border. It extends from the posterior superior iliac spine to the upper part of the posterior border of the ischium. This was the posterior border. Now coming to the gluteal surface. The gluteal surface is the outer surface of the ilium, which is convex in front and concave behind. It is concave behind and convex in front. It is divided into the 4 areas by 3 gluteal lines. Now we are going to discuss the gluteal lines. First is the posterior gluteal line. The posterior gluteal line is the shortest and it begins 5 cm in front of the posterior superior iliac spine. Then it runs downwards towards the greater sciatic notch. Next we come to the anterior gluteal line. It is the longest and begins about 4 cm from the anterior superior iliac spine. Then it runs backwards and then downwards to end at the middle of the upper border of the greater sciatic notch. Next is the inferior gluteal line. It is the most ill-defined and begins a little above and behind the anterior inferior iliac spine and then runs downwards and backwards to end near the apex of the greater sciatic notch. Next we come to the iliac fossa. Iliac fossa is a large concave area on the inner surface of the ilium. It is situated in front of the medial border. This is medial border. Iske in front it is situated the iliac fossa. Next is the sacropelvic surface. This is the sacropelvic surface, which is an uneven area on the inner surface. This is the inner surface of the ilium, which is situated behind this medial border. It is subdivided into 3 parts. First is the iliac tuberosity. This region is known as the iliac tuberosity. Then lying the next surface, you can see the boundary. This is the auricular surface. It is articular but it is pitted. This surface is the auricular surface. Next surface is the pelvic surface. Next surface is this pelvic surface. This pelvic surface is smoother and lies antero-inferior. It lies antero-inferior to the auricular. This was auricular surface. Antero-inferior to the auricular surface. It forms the lateral wall of the true pelvis. Next we come to pubis. The pubis, it forms the antero-inferior part of the hip bone. Antero-inferior part of the hip bone, and also forms the anterior 1/5 of the acetabulum. Now the parts of the pubis, it has a body. The body lies anteriorly, the superior ramus and the inferior ramus, and it has. Now we come to the body of the pubis. First of all, this is the body. Body has 3 surfaces. The one which you are viewing is the anterior surface, which is towards me, that this is the posterior surface, and this surface is the medial surface. Okay. Next we can see this is pubic crest. Lateral end of the pubic crest is known as the pubic tubercle. Now we are going to study about the superior ramus. Next we are going to discuss is this superior ramus. The superior ramus extends from the body. This is the body. It is extending from the body of the pubis towards this acetabulum. It has 3 borders and 3 surfaces. First border we are going to discuss is the superior border. The superior border is also called the pectineal line or the pecten pubis. Then another border is the anterior border, or this is also called the obturator crest. Next is the inferior border. This is the inferior border which forms the superior margin of this obturator foramen. Clear? So we have 3 borders: the superior border, also called the pectinate line, the anterior border or the obturator crest, and the inferior border which is forming the superior margin of this obturator foramen. Now I'll show you the 3 surfaces. This one is the pelvic surface. Okay. This one is the pectineal surface. And this is the obturator surface. In between the pectinate line and the obturator crest is the pectineal surface. In between the inferior border and the pectinate line is the pelvic surface. And inferior surface or obturator के बीच में this is the obturator surface. Clear? Next we come to the inferior ramus. The inferior ramus, it extends from the body towards the ramus of the ischium. This is ischium, this is pubis. The inferior ramus extends from the body of the pubis towards the ramus of the ischium to form conjoint ischiopubic rami. It lies medial to the obturator foramen. Okay. Next bone we are going to discuss is the ischial part. The ischium forms the posterior and inferior. So posterior inferior part of the hip bone and forms the 2/5 of the acetabulum. It also forms the posterior boundary. This is the obturator foramen. It forms the posterior boundary of this obturator foramen. Next we come to the body of the ischium. This is the body of the ischium. It is thick massive bone that lies below and behind the acetabulum. It is lying below and behind the acetabulum. It has 2 ends, the upper end and the lower end, and 3 surfaces. These are the femoral surface, the dorsal surface, and this one is the pelvic surface. Now the upper end. The upper end forms the posterior inferior 2/5 of the acetabulum. The ischium, ilium and pubis, we all know that the ischium, ilium and the pubis, they are meeting at this acetabulum. The lower end forms the ischial tuberosity. We know that this is the ischial tuberosity. Next we come to the conjoint ischiopubic rami. The inferior ramus of the pubis unites with the ramus of the ischium on the medial side. This is the obturator foramen. इसके medial side पे these 2 rami they meet to form the conjoint ischiopubic rami. The site of union is marked by a thickening. Now this conjoint ischiopubic rami has 2 borders, the upper border and the lower border. The upper border forms the margin of the obturator foramen and the lower border lies along this pubic arch. Then there are 2 surfaces. This one is the inner surface and the outer surface. The inner surface is smooth and convex. Inner surface is smooth and convex. Outer surface is rough for the attachment of the muscles. Next we come to the attachments on the ilium. First muscle is the anterior, this is the anterior superior iliac spine. It gives origin to sartorius along with the inguinal ligament. Next, this is the iliac fossa. This iliac fossa gives origin to the iliacus muscle. Now we know that this is the iliac crest. Iliac crest has an outer border and an inner border. This out in its anterior two-third. The outer border will provide attachment to the fascia lata in its anterior two-third. Also, it receives insertion of the external oblique muscle in its anterior two-third part up till the tubercle of the iliac crest. Now, just behind the highest point of this iliac crest arises the latissimus dorsi. Is it visible? This is the latissimus dorsi just behind the highest point of the iliac crest. The tubercle of the iliac crest provides attachment to the iliotibial tract. Now coming to the inner lip of the iliac crest, in its anterior two-third it will provide attachment to the transversus abdominis along with the fascia transversalis. Also the iliac fascia iliaca is attached here in its anterior two-third of the iliac crest. The posterior one-third gives origin to the thoracolumbar fascia and quadratus lumborum, the posterior one-third. Now coming to the intermediate area, in this intermediate area, in its anterior two-third, it is giving origin to the internal oblique muscle in its anterior two-third. Next we come to the one muscle, that is rectus femoris. It arises from the It has two heads, the straight head and the reflected head. This reflected head arises from the margin of the acetabulum, and the straight head, it arises from the anterior inferior iliac spine. It arises from the anterior inferior iliac spine. The rectus femoris has two heads, the reflected head and the straight head. Reflected head arises from the acetabulum margin and straight head arises from the anterior inferior iliac spine. Now coming to the gluteal surface, you know that we've discussed this is the posterior gluteal line. The area behind this posterior gluteal line will provide attachment or will give origin to the gluteus maximus. Now the area in between this anterior gluteal line and posterior gluteal line will give origin to the gluteus medius, and this area in between anterior and inferior gluteal line will give origin to the gluteus minimus. Along the margins of the acetabulum there is attachment of the capsule of the hip joint. At the sacropelvic area, it is very rough and we all can see. So since it is articulating with the sacrum here, so various sacroilial ligaments are present here. Now coming to the attachments on the pubis, this is pubic tubercle. On this pubic tubercle, inguinal ligament is attached. Now on this was the anterior surface of the pubis. On this anterior surface, all the adductor muscles are taking its origin, that is adductor magnus, brevis, longus, pectineus and gracilis. The posterior surface of this pubis, gives origin to the pelvic muscles, that is the levator ani and the obturator internus. This is the pectineal line. The pectineal line provides attachment first to the conjoint tendon, lacunar ligament, conjoint tendon, lacunar ligament, the pectineal ligament and the pectineus muscle, the fascia covering the pectineus muscle, and also the psoas minor is inserted here. Now coming to the ischium, on the ischium the most important is the attachments on the ischial tuberosities, which gives attachment to the hamstring muscles. How we will divide the ischial tuberosity? The ischial tuberosity is divided by a transverse ridge into an upper area and a lower area. The upper area is further subdivided by an oblique ridge into a superolateral surface and inferomedial surface. This lower area is again divided by a longitudinal ridge into a lateral surface and a medial surface. Is it clear? This was ischial tuberosity. Ischial tuberosity divided by a transverse ridge into upper and lower. Upper is divided by a oblique ridge into superolateral and inferomedial. The inferior is again divided into a lateral and a medial part. This will give origin to the different hamstring muscles. The superolateral gives origin to the semimembranosus. The inferomedial will give origin to the semitendinosus and long head of biceps. The outer lower area will give origin to the adductor magnus, and the inner lower area, which is covered with the fibrofatty tissue, which supports the body weight during the sitting position. The sharp medial margin of the ischial tuberosity will give origin to the sacrotuberosity. Now, the inner surface of this ischium will provide attachments. First, the perineal membrane. The perineal membrane is attached to the lower ridge. The upper area gives origin to the obturator internus, and the middle area gives origin to the fibers of the transverse perinei and is related to the dorsal nerve of the penis and the internal pudendal vessels. The lower area also gives attachment to the ischiocavernosus and superficial transversus perinei muscles. Also,